Thank you for picking up Absolute Jacker through my affiliate link. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to utilize this WordPress plugin as an Amazon affiliate. There's ultimately a lot of different ways and purposes that you can use Absolute Jacker, and not all of them would necessarily apply to Amazon affiliates, or at least not in all situations. For example, some people use an autoresponder newsletter like Aweber or GetResponse, and others do not. Some people use Google Plus fan pages or Facebook fan pages, and others may simply just be using a website and linking up to Amazon. So whatever the case may be, there is something that Absolute Jacker can do for you, and I'm going to direct you guys to how you can put this into action on your own websites. So first of all, once you get logged into the members area, you need to download the actual plugin. This can be done from the downloads page here. You have the actual plugin itself, and then down here we have a template file. You need to download both of these files. This first one is the actual plugin file that we're going to be uploading and installing into WordPress to get this plugin going. And then once we have it installed, we're going to need to enter in our license key, which is going to be this second button here. And finally, once it is activated, then we are going to need to import this template that we download. So get all of that information, download these two files, and also copy the license key that is provided for you through this link. Once you have that information, then you can proceed on to your website and actually begin installing it. This is going to be done through Upload Plugin, and then we simply find the file that we want to install right here. So I have the Absolute Jacker Power.zip file, and I'm simply going to click on Install Now. Now, this file is a little big. It takes a second to upload. So I'm going to show you one other thing while it's doing that. There are a lot of tutorials available for you. Each of these sections have a decent number of tutorials available for you that will teach you different aspects of this plugin. However, I went through these myself, and number one, the English is a little iffy, and they're sometimes a little hard to follow, especially if you just try to pick out one single video to watch to learn how to do something specific. It's almost as though they were meant to be watched in order, going from the top down, because some of the later videos, like the campaigns, they depend upon information that was set up in the actions videos and in the settings videos, but it doesn't recover that stuff in these videos. So if you do decide to go through these, you might want to start at the top and kind of work your way down. However, the intention of this training video is to teach you the fast track way of using this plugin for the purposes that you will likely need it for, without having to go through the tons of different videos and try to figure out what's going on. So once we have our plugin uploaded, we just click on Activate here, and this is going to put it into a link over here in our sidebar once it completes installation on our WordPress site. So now that our plugin is activated, we can see it over here in the sidebar, and it has a little license activation link for us. So on this page, we're going to be entering in that license key that we got through this green button right here. So we need to punch this in right here, just simply copy and paste it. Now that I have my key punched in, I just click on Validate. And I am now in the plugin. So this brings me to the settings page. On this settings page, we have a number of different tabs here to provide the basic settings for this plugin to operate for different types of situations. I'll be walking you guys through these in just a moment. But before we do that, we first need to go to this import button here. Right here, we need to browse for the file that we downloaded from here. But one thing though, the file that you're going to download is a zip file. You actually need to decompress that zip file. You could use WinZip, WinRAR for Windows. You should be able to use Stuffit Expander for Macintosh. Whatever the case may be, you actually need a file that is called templates.json, and that is the file that is compressed within that zip file. So first decompress it, and then come over here and browse to find that .json file that you decompressed. So I have my file selected here. You can see templates.json. Make sure this does not say .zip. Then click on the import button. Now this is simply going to import some general settings for your site. Now once we have this completed, we can proceed with using the plugin, but we first need to go through and customize some of these settings depending on how we are going to be using the plugin. So first of all, this first page here is the pop-up form settings. We can do things like enabling a cookie so people don't get the pop-up twice on them if you would like. We can enable a border if you want to have a border around it, and you can simply set a size for the border and even minimum and maximum dimensions possibly for your pop-up box. Personally, I would not want it to be too much smaller than about 250, and at a maximum I would likely not be looking for any more than maybe 800. So I'm going to set those as the dimensions for my pop-up form. Feel free to play around with those, because those you do not necessarily have to set, just like I did. So now we're on the opt-in main settings page. On this page, we have three main options to pay attention to. This is going to determine what gets shown when we display an opt-in form. We can either do Facebook, Google+, or email. This would be something like an autoresponder. We can do one or all of them depending on whatever it is that we use on our site. Now the rest of this stuff is simply going to control how this information gets displayed, so feel free to play around with that. But these top three are the most important. So now depending on whatever you select up here, then you will need to go on to these Facebook app settings and Google app settings pages. That would be if you selected to show the Facebook opt-in or to show the Google opt-in. Now personally, I use email and Facebook in most situations. On this particular website, I have a Facebook fan page dedicated to it, and I also have an email newsletter that I can set up for it. So I'm going to select these two options, and then I will continue on to set up my Facebook app. Now here we have a link that we need to click on, and this is going to take us to the apps page on Facebook, and we just need to click on add a new app right here. Click on Facebook Canvas. Then up here, click on skip and create app ID. This is going to let us create a new app. Then we can just simply name this. It doesn't have to be any special type of naming. This is really just going to be for our own reference, so we can look back at a list of all these Facebook apps later and identify what exactly this is. So I could call this simply Absolute Jacker and maybe even label it after my site. And down here, I could do the same thing. For category, I want to select apps for pages. So these three things are really all you need to do here. Give it a name, give it a name space. This should all be lowercase letters, no spaces or special characters or anything like that. And then set your category as apps for pages. And then we are going to create the app ID. Then we have to enter in our CAPTCHA here. Now I've actually already created this app, so I'm not going to technically proceed with creating that from scratch here. But once you go through and enter that CAPTCHA, you're going to land on this page right here that you see. What you want to do from here is first go to your settings page. On this settings page, we need to enter in a Canvas URL right here and a secure Canvas URL. We get this information. These are actually website addresses. We get these addresses from the plugin. Back here we see Canvas URL. So we copy this and paste it in. And then we have secure Canvas URL right below it. So we just transfer that information right over to here and right over to here. Beyond that, set an app domain. Set it as your domain name. It should copy this Canvas URL right here. Whatever you have here should be up here in your app domain. And then set a contact email. This is really important. If you actually leave this blank, you're not going to be able to proceed with creating and making this app live. I actually forgot one thing here. This Facebook Canvas, this is not going to show up automatically. To get this to show up, you have to click on this Add Platform button. And then you click on Facebook Canvas. You can see it's already grayed out here because I've already added it into my app. So add the Facebook Canvas in, paste in your Canvas URL, your secure Canvas URL, add in your app domain and a contact email, and then save your changes. Once you have saved your changes, then you can proceed on to the status and review page. As long as you have entered in everything correctly, you should be able to change this little slider bar right here from saying no to now making it say yes, just like you see pictured here. And it will ask you to confirm if you want to make your app live. Just simply confirm, and then this is what you should see when you are complete. This submit items for approval section right here, do not worry about this. You do not have to submit this type of Facebook app for approval. You simply have to make sure your settings are correctly set up, and you'll be able to make it live. So once we have this complete, go back to the dashboard. We then need our app ID, and we're going to copy that and paste it over here into Absolute Jacker. And then we need to do the same thing for the secret. The app secret, click on Show, Once we're showing our app secret here, then we can copy it and simply paste it in. Then we can authorize Facebook, and this will complete our Facebook app setup. Now the Google app information works essentially the same way. Personally, I'm not using Google+, at least not with a fan page for this particular site. So I'm not actually going to be setting this up. However, if you have any questions about that, just go over to the tutorial videos. There are tutorial videos here that will teach you about this information. This is going to be in your settings, so just go to the Google+ app settings right here. We also need to set up this cron job. However, this is really only going to be needed if you're using the Facebook app for the opt-in page or for the notifications to be able to notify your Facebook subscribers or to be able to post to your fan page. You need to go through this cron job setup procedure as well. Now this is actually fairly simple to do, but can be confusing for some people. I didn't want to continually repeat information here in this bonus training that is already provided by Absolute Jacker. So I thought I would simply instead point out where it is that you can find this. This is also going to be in the settings right here for cron jobs. You set that up, and that will allow the Facebook functions of this that are going to be posting and sending notifications to actually work as intended. Next up, whether you plan to use the Facebook auto posting or notification system, I'd still recommend going to the Page and Post Notification tab here. In this tab, you need to enter in a default message. Even if you're never going to use this, go ahead and enter in a message here because it does seem to be a required setting when you're actually going through and creating your campaign. So if you don't provide it, you might have issues getting that campaign set up, and it can be a little confusing at first. So you can simply say something like, check out my new post. Even if you never plan on actually publishing that, this is going to help us later on. I'll point out where once I actually get to that portion. Now you have another option, t-shirt sites options. This is not something that I'm using. This would be for if you're doing a Teespring promotion. So once we have all of this set up, the final thing we need to do is to set up our newsletter list. This would be if we were using the opt-in setting to show email. Then we would need to come down here to Add List, type in a name for our list, so I can just call this Carbon Fanatic, and then we enter in autoresponder code. This is going to be HTML code. So we then go over to Aweber or GetResponse to generate our code. I'm on GetResponse here. You can just go down to Web Forms and create new. Down below you can choose your designs. The intention of this tutorial is really not to go through and teach you guys all these different designs here. Instead, I wanted to give you a couple of my main recommendations for setting up these opt-in forms. I like to go for a bare minimum amount of information here. In particular, I will often remove the name, so all they really need to do is enter in their email and then click on a button. If I am controlling information like the header from somewhere else, which I'm going to be doing with Absolute Jacker, then I will also hide the header and likely even the footer and the powered by message. I still leave the little privacy message there though. So all I have now is email and sign up and the privacy message. So then I can go on to settings. Here I will just be naming it. I can provide all the other information that I'm going to be using for my newsletter, like setting up a custom thank you page, whatever web page I wanted to try to redirect them to. Perhaps I could set up a custom thank you page right here, or I could simply leave them on the current page. If that is the ultimate goal, you can do things with Absolute Jacker like locking a page down and making somebody subscribe to your newsletter before they actually get to see and use the page completely. So I'm just going to do stay on current page for mine. Then I can proceed on to publish my page. So I want to go over to show HTML code, and this is the coding that I am looking for. I want to select all and then copy. Then I'm going to go back over here into Absolute Jacker and enter in this HTML code and save it. So now this has my newsletter list set up. Once I'm finished preparing the plugin like this, getting my initial settings and setting up the appropriate sites and newsletter services and Facebook apps and etc., then I can proceed to actually begin to utilize this plugin. You need to do two things to actually create something with this plugin. Number one, you need to create actions. And then number two, you create campaigns. And in those campaigns, you're assigning actions to happen at different times or in different ways. So with that said, I want to show you actions first, and then I'm going to continue on to the campaigns. So I'm going to click on Add Action right here in the sidebar. I then get to the Add Action page, and the main thing to look at here is this action type. You have 5 different options. Depending on what you were looking to do, you can link out to another site, you can pop up an image, you can pop up HTML code, you can pop up a social form. This would be like getting somebody to like the page, for example. And then you can also pop up your opt-in forms. This would be your Facebook opt-in and your newsletter sign-up opt-in. So I want to show you a couple examples of these. I'm going to start pretty basic here and just do a link to out site. So I'm going to call this carbon fiber ad, and then I am going to go and find a carbon fiber product. So whatever product it is that I am trying to promote and refer sales on here, I want to find this product and I want to generate a link for it. This would just be a basic text-only link, and honestly I only need the destination of that link. So this full URL right here. Now if you already have this product being promoted on a page of your site, you might just be able to go and right-click on that page of your site to copy your affiliate link. So that's the ultimate goal here. You need an Amazon affiliate link to punch in to this link to out site. So what this is going to do is redirect link clicks on a page to the Amazon affiliate page using my affiliate link. This will all make sense in just a little while here when I get to show you how we actually utilize this. So now that I have that completed, I'm going to go ahead and create just a couple more actions here so I have a few things to work with when I go to create my campaign. This time, I'm going to create an HTML pop-up. Once again, I'm going to call this carbon fiber ad, but I'll call it carbon fiber ad HTML pop-up. So what I want to do this time around is I want to get my ASIN of the product. You can always find this located up in the URL, usually right after the letters DP, and it's going to be all letters and numbers here. So we copy this, and then we're going to go to the Generate Ad HTML page that I've provided for you guys as part of this bonus. Then you enter in your Amazon affiliate ID. This could also be a tracking ID if you have a particular one set up for this site. And then simply the name of the product. You could copy the entire thing here, or you're welcome to do something customized. Honestly, I would recommend doing something that is fairly short. Shorter, the better in most cases. So I'm just going to say 12 by 60 black carbon fiber wrap. And then I'm going to click on the Generate button. So this is going to give me my ad code. And I'm just going to copy this code and go back here to Absolute Jacker and simply paste in my code. And then I'm going to click on the Add Action button. Now I have my custom pop-up form, which is going to show an Amazon affiliate ad. So I want to go through and create just one more action here. Now, you could be using actions like image pop-up, where you just provide an image URL, upload your own image perhaps, and then a link URL that you want that image to link to. You could also do the social form pop-up, where you just provide whatever information you want to as far as social media accounts, Facebook page URL, Twitter, Google Plus URL, the message and the title that you want for that action that the person is going to take with this social pop-up. And you can do things like locking your page, where you lock your page, you put a title and a message, you put a Facebook page URL, and you require the person to like your page before it unlocks the content that you are showing them. What I really want to show you here, though, is the opt-in form pop-up. With this, I can select a list, enter in a header and a subheader. I can provide an image if I want to. I can enter in content in terms of HTML if I just want to enter in some basic text, or if I want to try to make it a little more stylish. But the really important part is down here at the bottom. This determines what shows up. I can have it say subscribe with this. I can have it say log in with this. I can even provide custom URLs for these different buttons. They have a lot of different options here, so play around with it and try to figure out what you like the best. So I'm just going to call this carbon fiber opt-in. For my action type, I'm using the opt-in form pop-up. If I wanted to, I could lock the page. Locking the page, once again, requires the person to complete the action before they can then access the page. So I can require somebody to subscribe via Facebook or with a newsletter list before I let them actually access the content on the page. But I could simply just have this as a normal pop-up. that gets shown when somebody first visits a page, or when they try to leave a page, or maybe just after they've been on a page for a little while. There's a lot of different circumstances where you can try this out. So I'm just going to put basic information here, since I'm not actually going to be utilizing this particular example in a live situation. I'm just going to say something like, join us if there's a particular reason you're trying to get somebody to join your newsletter. If you have some kind of bonus you're offering them, this is where to try to sell them on that. That kind of stuff makes it a lot easier to talk somebody into joining, especially if you're then locking down the page and requiring it. But then if they see that, hey, maybe they get like a free ebook or something like that, or a newsletter course, it can be even more appealing because they'll not only get to access the content, but they'll get to access whatever bonus it is that you're offering them here. If you don't have something like that, though, it is okay. You can simply use the lock feature to try to entice people to join, even if you're not offering them anything with the actual newsletter. So you can just say something like, subscribe to view our site. If I wanted to enter in some content down here, an image, maybe have some bullet points or something to go along with it, you can, but you don't have to. You can leave that information blank. If you enter in an image, you enable it with this checkbox. If you enter in content, you enable it with this checkbox. Beyond that, everything else is design. You can control the way it looks. Right here and here, you can control the way the text looks. So I could make my text a little larger if I wanted to, or potentially even a different color. And then once again, down below, we have our buttons. Now this is going to be based on the information that we provided in the settings. So now we are going to click on Add Action. We have everything set up as needed. So now we have 3 actions. So you're probably at this point wondering, okay, what in the world do we do with these actions? What's the point of all this? Now we go to Add Campaign. This is the part where Absolute Jacker really has its power. Now there are 2 different ways that you can kind of go about utilizing this plugin. Number 1, you can utilize it with your own website. You can take a page that is on your site and change it with those actions. The situations where this might actually be useful. Let's say after somebody's been on your site for a couple of seconds, you want to pop up a little window and try to get them to join your newsletter or to subscribe with you on Facebook. This can accomplish that for you. Now, I want to explain what's really happening here, because this part is what I found to be a little confusing when I was first trying to learn how to use this plugin. But after understanding it, I can definitely see how it's versatile and really powerful. So first of all, we are choosing a page that is on our website. Now, you're not going to be able to choose a post for this particular purpose. However, if you have a post on your website that you want to accomplish this with, you can still do that. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that here. I'm going to go ahead and set up a quick example on my own website. I'm just going to I'll pick this advertisement post that I have right here. So I can take the URL from this page and enter it in as the campaign URL. The campaign URL is the page that I want people to see. This could be on my own website, but it can also be on a completely different website. The page right here that I select in this drop-down box is going to be the page that people visit on my site in terms of the URL. So with that said, if you don't have a page already set up, you're not really going to want to use one of your pre-existing pages unless you're not wanting people to see that page anymore. So you may need to click over here, go to Add New Page, and actually create a new page on your site. So I'm just going to call this one Test for this particular example. If you have any option to block search engines from indexing this page, you may want to do that. I do this with my SEO plugin by simply clicking No Index for the Meta Robots tag, and then I'm just going to publish the page. Now take a look at my address right here, carbonfanatic.com/test. This is ultimately going to be the address that we are going to access in a few minutes here. So I actually need to start over here so I can get that page in this list. So now I have the test page here. And then for campaign down below, that is where I enter in the page that I want people to actually see. Now for parser, there are a lot of options. If the campaign URL right here is one of these different websites, select that option. For example, if you're trying to show people a page on YouTube, then click on YouTube here. Otherwise, you may want to just leave it as default and make sure it works that way. If it doesn't, come back and edit it, try some of these different sets and even the iframe, and one of these top 5 should work in all situations. But there are some special situations that use these other options down below. So with that said, once we have our page entered in and our campaign URL entered in, then we can add our campaign. However, there are other tabs here, and these are our other options that actually allow us to add actions that we created previously into this campaign. So now the actions are going to determine the special things that are happening on this particular page. We have a few different examples here. Default link. I would use this for the carbon fiber ad. This would redirect links on our campaign URL page to our Amazon affiliate link. This is really only something you're going to need to worry about if your campaign URL is on an external website, though. For the purpose of this example, where I'm just pulling a page from my own site, I'm actually not going to need to worry about redirecting these links. What I'm going to be doing instead here is using a pop-up. Now, I can do two kinds of pop-ups. I can do a delay pop-up, which allows me to show an action. So I could show this HTML ad pop-up, or I could even show my opt-in pop-up. Either one of those two would work just fine. I can have it set to show immediately, or I can have it set to show a couple seconds or however long after I have been on the page. So now the mouse out pop-up is the other option. With the mouse out pop-up, think of this like an exit pop-up. When you go to close a page and the page tries to stop you by saying, hey, wait, take a look at this first. That's essentially what this mouse out pop-up is going to do for you, except it doesn't necessarily require the person to close your page. It requires them to basically act like they're leaving your page. They lose the focus, the mouse leaves the confines of your page. Then it's going to show them whatever pop-up you specify here. So again, we could show an ad pop-up if we wanted to. We could try to get them to join our newsletter if we wanted to. Whatever it is we're trying to go for. Now make sure if you select something here. So if I select to show an opt-in, then I would want to make sure I have it enabled as well. Now, just to keep you from getting too confused, I'm going to go ahead and show you a quick example of this. I'm going to put my opt-in to show up immediately upon entering a page. Now, I'm not using this opt-in as a lock feature. I didn't enter that in as a setting. But if I had, this is how you put that on a page. Use the delay pop-up. You put your action here and you set it to 0 seconds so it shows up immediately. And then they have to opt in before they can actually view your page. And again, that is only if you're using that lock setting when you are creating the action. So I'm going to go ahead and add this campaign here. Now, this is what I was talking to you about previously. I may not have actually saved my setting over there on the previous page, so it's not showing up here. I went to go and add the campaign, but it wouldn't create it for me. It just stayed on this page. If that happens to you, you may notice if you go to the Facebook post tab and click on Add Campaign, it's asking you to fill out this message field here. You don't have to actually put anything here, though. There just needs to be any kind of information here whatsoever to allow this to go through. As long as you don't have this Enable checkbox up here checked, then the message will never actually get sent. So you don't have to worry about anybody seeing. Personally, I just punch in a space if I encounter this problem. Once you have that space in, you can click on Add Campaign and it'll actually work and save your campaign appropriately. So now you can see here page name and site test and link of iframe right here, and if I want to preview it, I can click on this button here. This is actually going to take me to the live page on my website. First of all, note right here at the top, I have carbonfanatic.com/test. This is the page that I was using for my campaign. This is the page that I selected here, my test page. The actual page that is getting shown to me, though, is this page of my site. Now, you can also see that I had a pop-up showing up there, but I want to point something out here. Notice how parts of my site do not look correct. There's a few things here that aren't showing up. This image, the top of the site, isn't showing up correctly. This is what I was referring to with the parsing. So you may need to go to All Campaigns, edit your campaign, and simply try a new parser. I could try iframe, for example. You can see once again there, it wouldn't allow me to save because once again that Facebook message. So pay attention to that. So now that I have redone my parser here, I can try this out again and see if I get some better results. Now, as you can see now, my page shows up correctly. All my images and everything else is looking as it should. So that's kind of the one gray area of this whole thing. You need for all of that stuff to kind of match up. So you may need to play around with that parser. However, once you get used to setting this up on your own site or using other particular sites, it'll be something that you can move through a lot faster than that. So now that we have this whole campaign working correctly, I want to show you something actually in action. So I'm going to save my campaign. I put on an image ad pop-up, and now I'm going to refresh my page. So when our page refreshes here, we get a pop-up, and this has our HTML coding in it. So if we clicked on either the image or the text itself, we would then be taken on to Amazon with our affiliate link. So this type of simple HTML pop-up is something that you can overlay on any page of your own website or even a different website. And I'm going to be showing you guys that here in just a few more minutes. So I want to go back to my campaign now and show you another option. This time I'm going to switch it over to the carbon fiber opt-in. Now I'm going to refresh my page. You can see now that my pop-up is shown. Join us, subscribe to view our site, and it's prompting for their information. So this is something that you can have hooked up to an email autoresponder. You can have it hooked up to a Facebook fan page or to Google Plus or to all three of them, just depending on whatever you use for your site. You can simply make it something that shows when somebody visits your site for the first time. You can have special areas of content of your website where maybe you don't want people to be able to access this page back here unless they actually join you. So you show them this when they first visit the page. Or maybe you want to show it to them when they try to leave your page. Leaving your page would be done using this other pop-up option here. So I'm going to delete the delay pop-up and I'm going to go over to the mouse out pop-up. And I can set the same one. I can do the opt-in or I can do the add HTML pop-up. And I simply enable that here. Now I'm going to refresh my page one more time so I get the updated version using this new campaign information. So I'm a visitor that has just come to this page. I can check it out, view some things, but then when maybe I'm ready to close the page down or to visit a different page, I start to move my mouse up here to go to my URL or to my tabs in my browser, and that's when it hits me. So you can use this for, again, newsletter subscribers, for Facebook, for Google+. You can also try to show an advertisement to somebody right here. Any of those examples work excellent and can honestly make your site a little more professional looking. How many times have you seen this kind of thing on other people's websites? They use it simply because it works. So now I want to show you another example using a third-party website. Let's say we find another website that has awesome looking review pages for a particular product that maybe we want to promote on Amazon. And instead of trying to outdo that person's page, why don't we just use that person's page and use our own affiliate link instead? That is something else that Absolute Jacker can accomplish for you. You can also find pages of interesting or useful content for your visitors and lock it down using Absolute Jacker to where they have to join you, subscribe to your newsletter, etc. to be able to actually access it. So I'm just going to go and make a basic search for carbon fiber vinyl, and I could find a website out there that perhaps has this page right here. So I could go to any one of these pages and try to actually hijack it. So now this particular page here, 3M Dynoc carbon fiber vinyl. I will take this information back over here to Amazon, and I'm going to locate this product on Amazon. So for this one, they have different sizes, so I could actually pick any of these different sizes that I wanted to try to promote, and then I would want to promote this particular page. However, I need my affiliate link. So you can acquire this through here on Amazon, or you can also use the generator page that I provided you guys with and pull out your affiliate link. That would be the destination of whenever you click on that link. So we have two things here. We have our affiliate link for the Amazon product, and we have the page that we want to hijack. So now I'm going to go and create a new campaign. I'm going to need a new page to use to hold the place here. So I'm going to call this 3M Dynoc. I'm going to prevent this page from being accessed by search engines, and then I'm going to publish it. So now I'm going to go back to the campaign page and refresh it one more time so I get this page listed. And as you can see, it's at the top of my list because it's in alphabetical order. So I select my page here that is going to be the placeholder page on my site. The campaign URL is the page that I want to hijack. So that would be this page. Then the parser, I'm going to leave this on default to start with to see how it looks. The part that's really important here, though, is the default link part. This needs to point to an action, and that action would be an Amazon ad that you had already set up. So I technically did not set up an Amazon ad for this particular product, but I did previously create an action for an Amazon ad for some other carbon fiber. So I can just use that as an example here. But basically, if you were doing this all from scratch, you would go to add action before you create your campaign. Then you could do 3M Dynoc here, link out to the site, and then your affiliate link would go right here and link to outsite. So we add this action and save it. I can go back here and go ahead and add this campaign so I can get it refreshed and get to correctly connect this up so you can see it working as intended. So now, default link, I'm selecting 3M Dynoc that I just created as an action. And that's going to point to my Amazon affiliate link for that product. So I make sure this is enabled and I save. So now my 3M Dynoc page is what I want to visit. This is that placeholder page that I just created. So going to this page, I see that I am redirected here. Now take a look at this up at the top. JavaScript seems to be disabled in your browser. I may need to try a different parser, or possibly I may just not be able to use this site because it's JavaScript heavy. Ultimately, it's using JavaScript for the pricing here. See how it can't select or show the actual price update when you select the size? That is something that is JavaScript dependent. So you may or may not be able to use all websites to hijack like this. But again, you could try out a different parser perhaps, and if need be, just move on to a different site. So the part that we're really interested in here is when somebody clicks on a link. Now this isn't going to function because of the JavaScript. But if somebody, let's say this was just a normal page that was promoting that same product, and maybe they had their own Amazon affiliate link on it. Whenever we clicked on that link, let's say this is the Amazon affiliate link on this page, and we click on it, it's going to take us to Amazon, but this is using our affiliate ID and not the affiliate ID that was located on the previous website. Let's see if I can find a better example here. I could take this tutorial page, for example, that is on this other website, and I could hijack it. I'll create a campaign. I need a page for my campaign. I'll just call this CF test. Prevent it from getting indexed. And then I'm going to publish this page. So now I can select CF test. My campaign URL is the page that I want to hijack. I have my parser right there. So I could do something like a delay pop-up for an opt-in on this page. And I can go back into my actions and I can edit that opt-in form pop-up to make it so it locks the page. Okay, I'm mistaken. The lock is not on this particular page. Okay, I actually was correct about this lock feature being located on this page, but it seems like when you actually create it, you can't go back in and edit it and change this lock setting. It goes away when you're editing. So you can only do this when you're creating a new action from scratch. So I'll call this opt-in lock. I'll click on lock here. I have my email list selected. I can type in my header and subheader information, content and images if I wanted to include that, all the other settings that I had previously discussed with you guys on this page. So I'm going to save my action. I'm going to go back to my campaign and edit this one here. Delay pop-up, I'm going to set as the opt-in lock, and I'm going to have this set on 0 seconds. And then I simply save. And now I can go and view my page. So this would be more of, I guess, a practical example of using this type of setup to lock down the content. So somebody lands on your page and they're like, ooh, that looked pretty cool, and ultimately to actually be able to access your page completely, they would have to join you here by subscribing to your newsletter to actually be able to view your website. Now if you wanted to, you could make this window here considerably larger so people can't actually see what's going on behind it. And this can be used as a really simple but highly effective way of both building newsletter subscribers and actually limiting access to content on your site. However, Google will still be able to index it so that you can get search traffic on these particular pages. Now once again, there are a ton of different possible ways that you can try to utilize this system. You can try to hijack Amazon affiliate links. You can find product review pages that are out there and redirect their Amazon links using your own Amazon links. You can hijack the content of other pages and get people to subscribe to your newsletter in order to be able to view the content on other websites. Or you can simply use these different pop-up form tactics on pages of your own website instead. So using a variety of these different approaches, and even some of the other approaches that I didn't talk about, things like the Facebook subscribers. This will keep track of it here. Anybody that joins you through Facebook using that opt-in form, they're going to be right here. You can actually send them notifications. You can automatically post to your Facebook profile or your Facebook fan page. Once you actually connect something up with an app, you'll have other options here. So there are tons of different things that I didn't discuss that this plugin can do, but at least everything that I've covered for you today should help you to dive right in and put this into action on your own sites. Thank you for watching, and once again, thank you for picking up Absolute Jacker through my link.